CNN presents winner of the International Documentary Association's Distinguished Award for Best Continuing Series.
A whole crowd has gathered in order to pray in St. Peter's Square.
It was a time the world came together. A square pulsing with prayer, hoping for life, preparing for death. For nearly 27 years, we watched as this man, the leader of the Catholic Church, grew old and frail. His inner strength was apparent to all. Now it is a time for faith and reflection. The moment before everything changed. The Vatican, St. Peter's Square. This is where they came. Those millions who rushed to Rome to pray, to grieve, and to say goodbye to their beloved John Paul II. I'm Delia Gallagher. The images remain as vivid today as they were just a year ago. But for the real story of John Paul's final days, you have to go behind these walls, to those closest to him. Theirs are the untold stories, the stories you've never heard until now.
My life became his life.
For nearly 40 years, Cardinal Stanislaw Dziwisz and Pope John Paul II were inseparable.
I didn't have a private life. His schedule, his work, became my work, my schedule.
Dziwisz was the Pope's personal secretary, a job he started when John Paul was still Karol Wojtyła, the young Archbishop of Krakow.
He asked me, "Can you come and help me with my work?" And I said, "When?" He said, "Today." I told him I'd come tomorrow, and tomorrow lasted for more than 39 years.
Today, 1 year after his friend's death, Dziwisz is back home in Krakow, working the same job, living in the same home, and praying in the same private chapel where his mentor once prayed.
After breakfast, he'd come here, lock himself in and pray by himself until 11. No one else was allowed in. He'd be here alone with Christ. And not only did he pray, he also worked here. The nuns were always curious about what he was doing. They peeked through the keyhole and would see him prostrate on the floor. That was his way of praying. So this chapel was very close to his heart.
He was always very prayerful, and you rarely saw him without a rosary in his hand.
Edmund Szoka is the governor, the chief administrator of Vatican City. He met the Pope 30 years ago.
Oh, gee, he struck me as a very impressive, very kind, very gentle person. He had that gift of expressing friendship, just not only by what he said, but just by his whole personality.
A Polish-American, Szoka was Cardinal of Detroit when in 1990, Pope John Paul summoned him to Rome to help put the Vatican finances in order. A working relationship developed into a friendship.
He always invited me for Christmas dinner and for Easter dinner.
What would that be like, Christmas dinner with the Pope?
Oh, it was delightful. Obviously, you would be tired, you know, after all the ceremonies, but you know, you wouldn't think so to see him at the meal. He looked very relaxed, and of course, the only ones there were people who spoke Polish, because I think it gave him a chance to relax and not have to be thinking in another language.
Gloria a Dio nel più alto dei cieli.
It was like seeing the face of Jesus for the first time.
Mother Tecla Famiglietti is the head of the Brigittine nuns in Rome. She first met the pontiff in 1979, after he became pope.
He asked me, "What is your mission?" And I said, "The glorification of God and the reunification of the Church." He said, "We have a long road ahead of us." And I said, "Yes, Holy Father, this won't be easy, even for us."
But 1 year ago, they were at the bedside of a dying pope, saying farewell to a friend, a mentor, and the leader of their church.
I knew that it couldn't go on much longer.
God didn't let him suffer long, only 3 days.
It was the hardest time of my life. The loss was just too great.
When we come back, their secrets revealed about the last days of Pope John Paul II.